Hi, I'm Bev Parker in my new studio. Check out my video on how I decorated this for $7. Today I'm going to talk about the tyranny of children who are raised by gentle parenting. I don't even know what that is, but I assume it means, what do you want, honey? What's the matter, honey? Oh, honey. While the kid is screaming his head off. So John and I didn't have a great experience yesterday in church, but we knew we'd have a great experience if we ate at a certain Mexican restaurant in Laramie, Wyoming. Chano's Village, I think it's called. We went in there knowing the food would be great. Our service was great, but thankfully it's a big restaurant. On the far side of the restaurant, there's this whining kid. Now there's also a kid crying, baby crying. I have no problem with that. Babies have every reason under the sun to cry. You know, they're wet, they're tired, they're hungry, their stomach hurts. They just want to go home. But a 4 or 5-year-old that's doing the over and over and over, and then getting louder and screaming, and then going back to, those are noises from hell. And the mom just sitting there on her phone, and every so often going, what do you want? Trying to shove a device or some food at it or something. Okay. This is how you do this. I'm going to tell you how you do this, and then I'm going to tell you what we should have done yesterday. But years ago, Rebecca decided she would try some of that in a restaurant. John said yesterday, let me back up a second, our kids never did that. I said, oh yeah, they did once. She didn't want to sit in the high chair. And so she's screaming and kicking and having a fit and straightening her legs out. And I was like, okay. I took her in the bathroom and I swatted her little butt and I made it sting, and I said, you will go back out there and you will sit down and you will not make a sound. Because I had enough sense to know that nobody came out to eat so they could hear my kid have a fit. Right? So we tuned this kid out, and we, just mostly, but it just kept on happening. I even prayed for peace over that child, and it would have peace for a minute and then it would start again. So we're leaving the restaurant, and John says, I should go over there and tell those people, they need to buy my lunch because your kid destroyed my lunch. And I thought, that's not an unreasonable thought. And I thought, really, what should we do? We could very well say to the manager, don't say who said it, because those kind of people will get in your face if you cross them about their darling. But we could say to the manager, would you please go tell those people that if they won't take their child outside, that you're going to present them with our bill. We want them to pay for our lunch. I think that's a pretty good solution. It's not unreasonable. What's unreasonable is that for some reason we think we should just sit there and be terrorized by these kids. Now, what's maddening is it's not the kids' fault. And this gentle parenting is raising up kids that have no way of getting along well in this world. They think it's all about them, that everybody should listen to their fits and everybody should put up with whatever. They have no concept of manners, of etiquette, of the things that make the world go round pleasantly for all of us. So, gentle parenting is nonsense. And anytime you say to one of these people, you know what? You could spank that child. That's part of your arsenal of good effectual parenting. I've heard this song, I could never hit my child. I'm like, well, if you think it's hitting, you're too dumb to do it. So yeah, don't. If you think spanking is hitting, you're right, you shouldn't do it. But I can never hit my child, and yet I can ignore my child, and I can yell at my child. These people do that. I can say horrible things to my kids. They do this. I was in the Red Feather Mall the other day, and this kid was tearing up everything and going nuts, and this mom was just, she's driving me crazy. I can't make her do anything. I'm losing my mind. And I wanted to go over to her and say, is your child deaf? Because if not, she can hear you. You are scarring her by saying these kinds of things about her. She knows her own mother doesn't like her. That's a horrible thing. Whereas Rebecca knew that her own mother meant business. I was reading Bringing Up Baby, pardon my pronunciation, and the author was an American mom who was in France, and she had, with other moms, had the kids at the park, And one of the French moms, or she said to one of the French moms, your child stays where you tell him, and mine won't, he won't. And the French mom said, he knows you don't mean it. I think there's a lot of people that have been brainwashed about disciplining kids and the right way to do it. And you know, go to the Bible if you don't know how to do it. Because the first thing you'll do is if you decide you're going to raise your children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, the goal is that they act like Jesus, not like demons. But also earn the right to spank them. I never had any doubt that I had a right to spank because I poured my life into Rebecca. And for her to think I'm gonna ruin it for everybody, no, you're not. You were doing that child such a disservice to ignore them and let them get away with that. And they need to be taught, this is the last thing I'm going to say here, they need to be taught that whining doesn't get them anywhere. Because a whining kid will be a whining adult and nobody will want to be around them. They will not be successful on any level. So, it's time for the tyranny to end. And if moms won't do their job and dads won't do their job, we at least have the right to say, you need to take your child outside. Or can I talk to you about how to make that child stop behaving like that? You know, tell them to come to my video. Because I'm going to do more on this, I think. Thank you so much for being with me. Again, please like and subscribe.